Prajajanaranjana Yashoda Nandana Prajajanaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Motova Kunja Bihari Hey Radha Motova Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishnupad, Paramahamsa Paragraj Acharya Ashtadhala Sata Śrīmad. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada ki Anantakoti Vaishnava Brinda ki Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki Jayanitai Go Premanande. All glories to some devotees, all glories to some devotees, all glories to some devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Narayanam namaskritya naram cheva narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayat. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 15, chapter entitled Narada and Angira instruct King Chitraketu, text number 17 onwards. Shri Angira uvacha Aham te putra kamasya putra dosmyan girda nripa Esha Brahma Sutta Sakshan Narado Bhagavan Rishi Aham te putra kamasya putra dosmyan girda nripa Esha Brahma Sutta Sakshan Narado Bhagavan Rishi Aham te putra kamasya putra dosmyan girda nripa Esha Brahma Sutta Sakshan Narado Bhagavan Rishi. Shri Angira Uvacha. The great sage Angira said, Aham, I, te, of you, putra kamasya, desiring to have a son, putrada, the giver of the son, asmi, am, Angira, Angira Rishi, Nripa, O King, Esha, this, Pradama Sutta, the son of Lord Brahma, Sakshat, directly, Narada, Narada Muni, Bhagavan, the most powerful, Rishi, sage. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Angira said, my dear King, when you desire to have a son, I approach you. Indeed, I am the same Angira Rishi who gave you this son. As for this Rishi, he is the great sage Narada, the direct son of Lord Brahma. Translation responsibly. Angira said, my dear King, when you desire to have a son, I approached you. Indeed, I am the same Angira Rishi who gave you this son. As for this Rishi, he is the great sage Narada, the direct son of Lord Brahma. Verses 18 and 19. My dear King, you are an advanced devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. To be absorbed in lamentation for the loss of something material is unsuitable for a person like you. Therefore, we have both come to relieve you from this false lamentation, which is due to your being merged in the darkness of ignorance. For those who are advanced in spiritual knowledge, to be affected by material loss and gain is not at all desirable. Purport. Several words in this verse are very important. The word Mahapurusha refers to an advanced devotee and also to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Maha means the Supreme and Purusha means person. One who always engages in the service of the Supreme Lord is called Mahapurushika. Shukadeva Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit are sometimes addressed as Mahapurushika. A devotee should always aspire to engage in the service of advanced devotees. As Srila Narottama Das Thakur has sung, Tandera Charana Sevi Bhakta Sane Vas Janame Hoy E Abhilash. A devotee should always aspire to live in the association of advanced devotees and engage in the service of the Lord through the Parampara system. One should serve the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through the instructions of the great Goswamis of Vrindavan. This is called Tandera Charana Sevi. While serving the lotus feet of the Goswamis, one should live in the association of devotees, Bhaktasthane Vas. This is the business of a devotee. A devotee should not aspire for material profit or lament for material loss. When Angira Rishi and Narada saw that Maharaj Chitraketu, an advanced devotee, had fallen in the darkness of ignorance and was lamenting for the material body of his son, by their causeless mercy they came to advise him so that he could be saved from this ignorance. Another significant word is Brahmanya. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is sometimes addressed by the prayer Namo Brahmanya Devaya, which offers obeisances unto the Lord because he is served by the devotees. Therefore, this verse states, Brahmanyo Bhagavad Bhakto Nava Saditum Ahasi. This is the symptom of an advanced devotee. Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma, for a devotee, an advanced self-realized soul, there is no cause for material jubilation or lamentation. He is always transcendental to conditional life. Amagyan Timadandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmalitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubi Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we're seeing here that the great sages are instructing Maharaj Chitraketu. And this is the position of the devotees. The devotees are meant to instruct or guide humanity. Prabhupada actually said, we don't want to run the government, we want to advise the government. You know, we don't need to be the ministers, but we should advise the ministers, or they should listen to us. That was the Vedic system, the Vedic paradigm. That the devotees, or the brahmanas, would advise the kshatriyas. Nowadays the kshatriyas are not kshatriyas, because one of the symptoms of a kshatriya is that he should take consultation from the brahmanas. He should listen. And this is a basic premise in spiritual life. You're only going to advance when you listen. You're only going to advance when you are submissive. Right? If you think you know everything, no one can instruct you. Right? And therefore it's very difficult to advance in Krishna consciousness. So you need to take guidance. My Guru Maharaj, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, once said that I don't trust any one person's mind, including my own. Which means you can't depend on your own decisions in life. You have to take consultation. That's how we advance in Krishna consciousness. We need to listen and take guidance from senior devotees. So we're seeing here the Maharaj Chitraketu. He is in a very fortunate position that he is being instructed by Narada and Angira. And if he follows what they instruct, then he will be free from lamentation. So you need to follow. Now here, Prabhupada says in the purport that we need to associate with... what's that? Yeah, advanced devotees. Yeah, we need to associate specifically. We need to take guidance from devotees. And Jiva Goswami says, in his commentary to the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami at the end of listing the quality or the items of devotional service, at the end he lists 5 items and he says these are the most important. Right? So the most important angas or items of devotional service are associating with devotees, chanting the holy name, worshipping the deity, residing in a holy place, and hearing the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Now when it comes to associating with advanced devotees, Jiva Goswami specifically says it means advanced devotees, sadhu sangha. Because you will only advance as much or according to the level of advancement you receive in Krishna consciousness. You will only rise up to the level that the level of association that you receive. If you associate with advanced devotees, by their association you'll also become purified, you'll also become advanced. If you associate with neophyte devotees, right, then you can only go up to their level. So therefore you need to find and associate with advanced devotees. Now what's the most important way or the most significant way to associate with the advanced devotees? Right? It is to hear from them. Touch Shrinu. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, just Arjuna, just hear from me. Right? Touch Shrinu, just hear. Right? That's the most important service you can render to your guru. That is the most important service you can render to the advanced devotees, is to hear from them. Now, the hearing becomes fertile when you render service. That's why Krishna says, Prabhupada once said the most important verse in the Bhagavad Gita is which verse? Which is the most important verse in the Bhagavad Gita? Which one? One time Prabhupada said, chapter 4, verse 34. What is that? Tadvidi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya. Upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshinaha. Right? In one sense, that is the most important verse in the Bhagavad Gita. Inquire from a spiritual master or advanced devotees. You have to make inquiry. Right? You have to inquire. So what is it? 434. It's in the Bhagavad Gita. Like that. I'm telling you what it is. I just told you where it was, now I'm telling you what it is. We just quoted the Sanskrit. So, you have to inquire submissively. Right? If you're not submissive, you cannot advance in Krishna consciousness. Right? And this is what it means to be a disciple. This is the ornament of the devotee. Right? A devotee is humble. He has to be submissive. That's when you learn. Right? If you think you know everything, how can anyone teach you anything? I know. My Guru Maharaj used to say to Prabhupada all the time, because he was with Prabhupada a lot. He used to always say to Prabhupada, I know. The Prabhupada would say, he'd say, I know. And one time Prabhupada said, I know, you know everything. I know. You think you know everything. How can you advance in Krishna consciousness if you think you know everything? You have to be submissive and humble, like Mahatma Prabhu. All right? Humble and submissive. All right? Then you will advance in Krishna consciousness. That is the secret. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya. You have to inquire. Right? Be submissive and inquire. Right? If you don't understand something, then ask. How will you go further? How do you learn the science of bhakti if you're not inquiring? Oh, I don't understand this. I need to go further. No. Prabhupada said if you read his books, all the answers will come. Prabhupada said we should read his books 1 to 2 hours every day. Hands up if you read 1 to 2 hours every day. No one puts their hand up. So, Prabhupada says, yeah, sometimes we do. That's good. Yeah, at least sometimes, but you should do it regularly. Yeah, should do it regularly, 1 to 2 hours a day. Right? Read Prabhupada's books 1 to 2 hours a day regularly. Right? Then the answers will be there. Right? And if the answers don't come, then you inquire from the devotees. Prabhu, what does this mean? How do I understand this? Yes, sir. That is a good thing. In Chaitanya Charitamrita it is said. So we need to inquire. That's how you learn. Now, the devotees will become inclined to instruct you and to give you guidance when they see that you have a service attitude. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya. Sevaya means service. If you don't do anything, if you don't have a good service attitude, if the devotees are not impressed and inspired by your service mentality, they won't be inclined to instruct you. They won't give you instructions. Right? You have to show, I have a good service attitude. I will listen. I will ask questions. I am submissive, and I will do service. Right? You have to show that you're going to do some service. Then the devotees will become inspired. Well, then the advanced devotees will bless you. They say, oh, he has a good service attitude. Just like some people, they come here to the temple, I see. They come for years and years. They just eat. I see. And then one time I said to one of them, they come here and they just eat. And they said, oh, I carry the buckets upstairs. Oh, congratulations. My God, 5 minutes of service. Well done. Yeah, that's if you're lucky, yeah. Outstanding. Right, well, the rest of us are working hard, day and night, to supply you the prasadam that you take. And there's not a sense of gratitude. It's the nature of Kali Yuga. People are lazy. Just want to come and eat prasad. So you have to have a service attitude. That's why you don't advance. That's why people don't advance. People don't advance in Krishna because they don't have a good service attitude. Prabhupada says in Nectar of Instruction, spiritual advancement is based upon the service attitude of the devotee. Right? That's how you advance, when you've got a good service attitude. Then you advance quickly. If you don't have a good service attitude, you don't advance quickly. Then the books, they come to life. You can read Prabhupada's books, but you won't understand and get realizations unless you're doing service, unless you have a good service attitude. But when you have nice service attitude, you chant nicely, and then when you read, everything comes to life. So it says sadhu sangha means to associate with advanced devotees. You have to find advanced devotees. Serve them, be submissive, inquire from them. Then you will advance in Krishna consciousness. So it says here, Prabhupada specifically says in this purport, it's a very powerful and wonderful purport. Prabhupada says, a devotee should always aspire to live in the association of advanced devotees and engage in the service of the Lord through the parampara system. Prabhupada says in the songbook of the Vaishnava-acharyas, he says that the whole process of Krishna consciousness is to associate with pure devotees and to pray for the mercy of the previous acharyas. That's how we advance in Krishna. Prabhupada said that is the whole process. That is everything. Right? Associate with pure devotees. Who are pure devotees? 1968. In 1968, how many devotees were there in ISKCON? About 80. Right? Not many. Now how many are there? Too many. 100,000 initiated. But if you count everyone who comes, then it could be 1 million. I'm not sure. Could be 10 million. I'm not sure. There's many. But in 1968, there was only 80 devotees there. So Tamar Krishna Maharaj said to Prabhupada, how many pure devotees are there on the planet? And Srila Prabhupada said, how many devotees are there in ISKCON? In other words, what is the definition of pure devotion? Pure devotion means, it doesn't mean you don't have material desires. We all have material desires. But it means you don't act upon the material desires. Right? If you are acting on your material desires, then you're not a pure devotee. If you don't act on them, and you keep serving Krishna, that becomes your focus, then you're considered a pure devotee. Prabhupada says, like a ripe mango and unripe mango. Unripe mango means one day you will become ripe. Paka. What does paka mean? What do you mean? Ripe? Yeah, paka means ripe. How will you become ripe? You only become ripe when you stick to the process. You stick to the process, you'll become ripe in due course of time, if you don't act on your material desires. Right? So we have to associate with pure devotees. So what we're doing now, we're associating with pure devotees. The devotees are pure. They are not acting on their material desires, therefore they're considered pure. Right? And you have to pray for the mercy of the previous acharyas. Actually, you begin to advance in Krishna consciousness when you become conscientious of and focused on establishing your relationship with the previous acharyas. Right? That's when your Krishna consciousness really begins to take off and to manifest. Right? When you understand the glories. First, when we first come to ISKCON, we focus on Srila Prabhupada. Right? We focus on Prabhupada from beginning to end, because he is our connection to Krishna. He is the Samstaka-Acharya, which means the Founder-Acharya. Right? There are many acharyas, many gurus, but Prabhupada is the Founder-Acharya. Right? It's a significant position. So that person who's the Founder-Acharya, everyone follows. Right? So that is Prabhupada's position. So all of us, we concentrate in our relationship with Prabhupada. Then we begin to, we establish a relationship with the spiritual master who is following Prabhupada. And simultaneously we begin to understand our relationship with the previous acharyas, with the members of the disciplic succession who have brought Krishna consciousness to us over the last 5,000 years and beyond. Right? That's when you really begin to advance in Krishna consciousness, when you establish a relationship with them. Now, how do you establish a relationship with them? You hear about them. You know, we're fortunate now, we have biographies on everyone. Right? So we can learn about everyone. You can learn about Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur, Narottama Das Thakur, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, all of the great gurus. And when they become prevalent in your consciousness, that's when you really advance in Krishna consciousness. Because it is by their kripa, or their mercy, that we become inspired in Krishna consciousness. They are our main inspiration. And how else do you become connected to them? By serving them. How do you serve them? By spreading Krishna consciousness. That is their mission, their desire, is that you spread Krishna consciousness. So then, when you focus on them, then you'll become significant. That's when you will begin to advance in your Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada is saying here, we need to establish our relationship with the previous acharyas. He says here specifically, one should serve the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through the instructions of the Goswamis of Vrindavan. This is a very significant point. Right? The 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, that is their picture just there. 6 Goswamis. Rupa Sanatan, Bhatta Raghunath, Sri Jeev Gopala Bhatta, Dasa Raghunatha. The 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. And there are more Goswamis as well. They had more associates. Right? So those personalities, they are our guides and our inspiration in Krishna consciousness. We are known as Rupanuga Vaishnavas. Rupanuga means those who follow in the footsteps of Srila Rupa Goswami. All of us are known as Rupanuga Vaishnavas. They are our inspiration. They showed us how to practice Krishna consciousness in the modern day. Lord Chaitanya sent Rupa and Sanatan to Vrindavan, right, which wasn't easy for them. At the time, one of them was the Prime Minister of Bengal. The other one was the Treasurer of Bengal under the Muslim ruler, Nawab Hussain Shah. So imagine trying to escape that position. Trying to get out, walk from Bengal across to Vrindavan, which is, well, it must be like 2,000 kilometers, right? Walk across and then establish, based on the instructions of Lord Chaitanya, resurrect and re-establish Vrindavan as a holy place of pilgrimage. Krishna had left the earth 4,500 years before. And when Krishna left, Vrindavan became covered People forgot where were the Leela Sthans, the pastime places where Krishna performed his pastimes. So Lord Chaitanya ordered them, give up your government positions, which was not easy, and then go to Vrindavan and re-establish Vrindavan as a holy place. That was their mission. That was the instruction given to them by Lord Chaitanya. So what happened when Sanatana Goswami tried to leave? They put him in jail. Right? You can go to the jail. The jail is still there. Right? You can see pictures of it in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. They threw him in jail. But he was such a saint that he convinced the jailkeeper to let him go. And the jailkeeper took him down to the Kund, like to the lake, and he jumped in. And then they told the Nawab, he jumped in with his chains on and he drowned into the river, I think it was. So then, but he escaped, and then he went to Vrindavan, had to cross. It was dangerous back in those days. Everything was dangerous back. It's dangerous in these days. Try and walk from Bengal to Vrindavan. Nikeshwari Prabhu and myself, we're planning to go to Vrindavan next week. Right? And then when we want to go to Mayapur or Puri, then we get a plane. Right? We're there in a day, well, half a day, then you can go from one to the other. But back then you had to walk. Right? It would take 2 months or 1 month to walk. Right? And it was dangerous. I mean, everything's dangerous now too. Nothing's safe anymore in the world, but they had to walk for 2,000 kilometers. Right? So they escaped Rupa and Sanatana. They went to Vrindavan on behalf of Lord Chaitanya, and they had to establish temples. If you go now to Vrindavan, you still see the temples that they established. They installed deities. They had to find the deities. Rupa Goswami found Govindaji buried in the earth, and he brought him out and established him. He's still being worshipped now in Jayapur. Right? So they established the deities. They found the holy places, the Leela Sthans where Krishna performed pastimes. They built the temples. They wrote the books that we all study, Nectar of Devotion. Right? That Prabhupada said that is the law book for ISKCON. Rupa Goswami wrote that book for us. And then they showed us perfect Vaishnav behavior, sadachar, how to act properly in Krishna consciousness. They showed us all these things. They taught us all these things. So we have to understand our relationship with them, the significance of the relationship, how important it is. So Prabhupada says here, while serving the lotus feet of the Goswamis, one should live in the association of devotees. This is the business of a devotee. A devotee should not aspire for material profit or lament for material loss. Prabhupada quotes Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma Na Sochiti Na Kankshiti. Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma. We're meant to be on the Brahma Bhuta platform. Brahma Bhuta platform means spiritual platform. When you're on the spiritual platform, you do not lament and you do not hanker. All right? Then you become prasanatma. Prasanatma means joyful. Then you're happy. Hands up if you're happy. It took everyone a while, but then... am I happy or am I not happy? Yeah. You should always be happy. Because if you're serving Krishna, you will always be happy. If you're not serving Krishna, that means you will not be happy. So if you're not happy, sometimes I'm not happy, then you're not serving Krishna. Because if you're serving Krishna, you will always be happy. If you forget Krishna, then you will not be happy. So no sochiti na kankshati means hankering and lamenting. A devotee has to learn to give these two things up. Hankering means I want something in the future. When I get this, I will be happy. There's only one problem. It may or may not come. That's the material energy. There's no guarantees in this material world. Right? When you learn that, you become happy. Right? There's no guarantees. What is that? That doesn't even work in the material world. That doesn't even work. You can desire whatever you want in the material world. There's no guarantee you'll get it. And if you do get it, there's no guarantee it will make you happy. That's the material world. Material world, huh?
It never happens like that.
Never happens?
No. It's like I explained to my daughter. You look forward to things and you finally get there, and then you find there's disappointment because it's not your expectations. The whole secret in life is to try to enjoy the journey. The destination's an illusion.
Yeah. And even the journey in the material world isn't always enjoyable.
Exactly.
So, Prabhupada said you cannot be happy here. Dukkhalayam ashashvatam. Krishna already says in the Bhagavad Gita, so why are you wasting so much time? Krishna already told you in Bhagavad Gita, this place is miserable and it's temporary, and then we make all these plans which may or may not come true.
So how can you be happy then?
If you're serving Krishna. Right? Because if you're not serving Krishna, how can you be happy? Because everything else here is temporary. Dukkhalayam ashashvatam. Right? It is temporary and it's miserable. Please enjoy yourself. Just like if you go to a restaurant, you go into Melbourne, you go to a restaurant, as you walk in, it says, welcome. You will be miserable and everything in this restaurant is temporary. Enjoy yourself. So then how are you going to enjoy yourself? That is the material world. Right? So we have to understand this. So a devotee becomes happy when they stop hankering for something which will come in the future, because it may or may not come. That's why we have to say, if Krishna desires, like Bhurujan Prabhu always says, Krishna willing. He always says that, Krishna willing. If Krishna desires, it will happen. If Krishna doesn't desire, it won't happen. That is called hankering. And then there is lamentation. Lamentation means I always am sad about something that happened in the past. But you can't change what happened in the past. Go back and change it. You can't. That is called lamentation. But people spend their whole lives lamenting. Oh, when I was 3, this happened. Oh, when I was 8, this happened. Oh, when I was 16, this happened. Oh, when I was 24, this happened. Oh, when I was 38, this happened. Oh, when I was 51. People spend their whole lives doing this. How can you be happy? It happened, it's gone, it's finished. Hare Krishna. Now just get on with your life. Serve Krishna. If you serve Krishna, you'll be happy. Otherwise, there is no happiness in this material world. Material world ki? Jai. There's no happiness here. But the material world is very good because it teaches us to become detached and to serve Krishna. Prabhupada said only 2 people are happy in this world. Who are the 2 people? Yeah. Prabhupada says in Bhagavatam, he said only 2 people are happy. Who are the 2 people? One is the crazy person. Crazy people are happy. You see them walking down the streets. They're all laughing and they're all happy. Yeah, they're crazy. Of course they're happy. Right? And the second person is the devotee. Devotees are happy. You look at the devotees, they're happy. Right? The devotees are happy, but everyone else, no. They will have problems. This is the material world. Okay? I'll stop here. Any questions or comments about what we discussed today? Yeah. So as a kid, how do I develop a service attitude? You do service. Right? How do you develop a service attitude? You do service. You do lots of service. Right? You do service. When you come to a temple, like on Janmashtami, what did you do? Yeah, so that's service. Right? So that's service. So you just do service like that. As a kid, you can do service. Right? And then what was the second part of what you said? What are the service you can do for the devotees? Then as a kid, then just ask the devotees, ask your parents and ask the devotees, what service you can do, and they will tell you what you can do. Just like, the devotees, they do service in here. They clean the temple after breakfast, right? Some of these devotees, they do it. Some of the kids, they do it. So you just ask. You just ask, what service can I do? And we will tell you. There's lots of service to do. Is that okay? Okay. Good question.
You mentioned in the material world there's no happiness, but then at the same time, even when you read the Bhagavad Gita, you hear about the mode of goodness. And it says that a person in the mode of goodness, he actually gets knowledge and happiness. And a person can be in the mode of goodness, and he can, it's possible that he's not spiritual at all. So that happiness that he's getting in his material is not spiritual. So there must be some happiness in the material.
In material world. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the reason we're speaking like that, it just depends. When you give class, you're emphasizing a particular point. So, because when we speak like that, there is no happiness in this world, which is true. The reason we say that is to breed detachment in the hearts of the devotees. That's why we say it like that. But then if we give another class in a different angle, we will say that, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that those in the mode of goodness, they'll feel a sense of happiness. So that's true in the material world. If you live in the mode of goodness, you will feel peaceful, you'll feel happy. So that's not wrong. That's true, we do. Like, devotees, even devotees or non-devotees, if they live in the mode of goodness, they feel like a sense of peace and happiness in this world. But it is temporary. It does not last. So therefore, they're peaceful and happy, but that will not remain. So therefore, that's why Bhagavad Gita says, there is no happiness. That's why Prabhupada says, there is no happiness. We understand there is, but it's a material happiness, and anything material does not last. Because the mode of goodness in the material is Mishra Sattva. Mishra Sattva means it's mixed with goodness, with passion and ignorance. Right? And ignorance always destroys everything. So even the happiness in this world eventually disappears. I think so.
So sometimes you get this really happy moments, even in the material life. They are temporary, but sometimes they come. And in the same way also, like sometimes really frustrating moments come. When the frustrating moments come, it's very easy to be detached. But not those happy moments, it's very difficult not to get attached to them. It's very difficult not to hear it once before that, even when those moments come, you should not enjoy them.
No, it doesn't mean don't enjoy it, but it means understand it in its proper perspective. Don't get carried away by it. Like we enjoy our life. Like, maybe it's nice weather, we spend a day at the beach, like that. So, at the end of the day, we say, oh, that was a nice day and we had nice fun and that was good and all that. But we don't get carried away by it. Like, that's not the cause or the source of our happiness, right? The cause or the source of our happiness is our service to Krishna. Sometimes we relax. Even Prabhupada, sometimes he would relax. One time he was in South India, up in the hills, where they grow the tea and everything, and it's a very beautiful place, very peaceful place. Prabhupada was up there. And Prabhupada stayed there for a few weeks. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj was with him, and he said to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, what are we doing here? Like, we're not preaching, we're not... And Prabhupada said, sometimes you need to relax. Because Prabhupada was working hard all the time. So, he was just taking some time just to rest. Right? So sometimes we have to do that. We just have to do some rest and just, go for a nice walk or a nice swim or, something like that. There's nothing wrong with that. But that's not our main thing. Because if you think that's going to give you all the happiness in the material world, then, it doesn't work. Like that. So, like that. Just keep it balanced, that's all. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned just to follow up on the developing service attitude. Sometimes when you're trying to develop a service attitude and depending on the actual service, it can get pretty intense. Because sometimes you have to kind of give them a passion to actually get the service done. But in the midst of that, you're actually working with a lot of devotees. And sometimes the aim is to get the service done, but sometimes it can be very hard to cooperate with
Yeah, if you're being offensive, you have problems. Yeah, so you have problems because you shouldn't be offensive. You know, like sometimes we have to get the service done, but you know, if you learn to advance in Krishna consciousness, you learn how to associate with the devotees nicely. Right? So we're all supposed to be doing the same thing. We're all supposed to be a team which is helping each other to achieve the goal, which is the pleasure of Krishna and the pleasure of Prabhupada. So then we should work cooperatively with the devotees. You know, if there's friction and everyone's arguing and you know, like you said, it's starting to commit offenses, that's not good. That's not what's the point? The service is getting done, but everyone's disturbed. That's not the point. We should all be working together and encouraging each other. So then maybe change your attitude a little bit, the way you're dealing. Maybe you're dealing with the material mindset. You have to deal with it with the spiritual mindset, which means I am your servant. I'm assisting you. And we have to learn how to change gears. Right? Sometimes we're the follower, sometimes we're the leader. You have to change gears. Right? So like I might be the leader in a particular circumstance, right? But then I understand, oh, wait a minute, you know more. Like you're a younger devotee than me, right? But, you know, so normally I would be the leader in the service, right? But then I see, oh no, you're better at something, or you understand something better than me, then we swap. You become the leader. I say, come on, I'll help you, right? And then later on when the service finishes, okay, then we go back to our natural position, right? So you have to learn to do these things properly. So you have to adjust your mentality. It means it's a material mentality. The material mentality means you are, it's like you're competing with the other devotees instead of cooperating with the other devotees. So it means the consciousness is not correct. You have to work on it. You have a service attitude. Like, it should be fun. We should all be serving each other. Sometimes it gets intense, but you know, we should be like, it's like in a game, like of, say, rugby or something like that, or football or something. It gets intense, but you're a team, and like you work together, and like, you know, you throw the ball to each other, it's intense. Come on, you know, move, go, like that. But it's cooperating to get to the goal. And at the end, you celebrate together. So it should be like that. The mood should be correct. And that's what Krishna is looking for. Krishna doesn't just want the service, but he wants to say, what is your service attitude? How do you deal with the other devotees while you're doing the service? In one sense, that's more important. Because you might do all this service, but then if you upset everyone on the way, is Krishna happy? So that means we have to work on our mentality. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay. Yes, sir. Please. You should follow. Yeah. Yeah, a great Acharya. Yeah.
We have to follow them.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki? Gauranga.